Welcome to the Dawg Chug. Roger, it's finally here. Training camp is here. How's it going?
I'm excited. I'm excited for training camp. You know what? I'm still on a high from last week. We had a great show, great guest. Thursday was Dawg Chug Love Day on Twitter. We're getting love all day. It was beautiful. And then on Friday, Offside, our Offside Sports comes out with the Dawg Chug merch. You know, T-shirts, hoodies. It was a great week. You know,
pretty exciting.
It was exciting, and then
I cannot wait to sell all this merch to like the 5 fans that we have. It's going to be awesome.
Right. I'm pumped. Just
can you imagine the money that's going to be rolling in when all of our army is rocking Dawg Chug hoodies? It's going to be amazing.
It is. I need it beer money. It's going to cover the beer, I think, and that's.
No. Any money we get is getting reinvested in to Dawg Chug so that we can get more shirts to give away, because we're going to start having games again come season time, and we need merch that we can, give as prizes. It makes it more fun.
All right. I'll buy my own beer, I guess.
I'll buy you a beer. In fact, we're going to see each other this weekend, yeah?
Hey, I got a new chair.
Oh.
For Dawg Chug, and it was free, so I didn't have to spend any money out of out of the account. So
nice.
I feel like Captain Kirk in it. It's gigantic, big leather office chair. Yeah,
you look like Captain Kirk.
I do. To the bridge.
All right. Well, let's see here. We should probably see what this crazy asshole. He's been on, I think, the last 10 shows. This is his 11th appearance. No one thought it could happen. If he gets to 52, we're going to buy him something, I guess. Dan, how's it going tonight?
It's going all right. How y'all doing?
We are fantastic. On a scale from 1 to 10, how drunk are you right now?
Yeah.
Like a 4, unfortunately.
How many beverages and, pills maybe does it take for Dan to get to a level 4?
About 24 ounces and a joint.
All right.
That's okay.
You should do a chug now. You should do a chug now to make up for lost time.
Well, I'm on my last one, so
Yeah. There you go.
Whoa. I wonder what he's drinking tonight. It's a little obscured.
There you go. What is that?
I can't read it.
King Cobra.
Cobra. Wow, King Cobra. I thought they only made that in 40s. I do enjoy King Cobra back in the day.
Wow.
All right. Well, you always have great stuff. Usually, occasionally. What is your great take this week? I know you've been working on it all week.
Training camp opens today. What do you got for us, Dan?
Well, no, I came up with it today. Just came out the blue. Browns are going to be 11-6 this season, regardless of the Watson suspension, at the least 11-6.
Wow.
Okay. So you're saying if he gets suspended the full season, we're still going 11-6.
Yep.
Wow.
But you're saying if he gets suspended 0 games, we could do better than 11-6.
Right.
Wow. Let's see what Ed has to say about this. Ed, welcome to the show.
Ed.
You're hanging out in the dark a little bit. What do you think about that?
Well, I just want to say this. How hot of a take is it that for the last month I've been on numerous podcasts. Ed in Columbus is huge. I've been saying 11-6, no matter who the quarterback is, Dan. So you come out today with this revelation that, the Browns are going to be 11-6, regardless of the suspension. That's a weak-ass take, Dan. You got to do better than that.
Ed, let me ask you this question. If we have no quarterback the entire season and it's Jacoby Brissett and then whoever our backups are, I won't even talk about them, are we still going 11-6?
You know what? I've been saying that. I'm going to chug on that as well because this is ridiculous, guys. 11-6 with this roster. I've been saying it. Dan, you stole my take, but you know what? You're not going to steal. You're not going to steal my chug. You're not going to steal my chug.
Shit about 11-6. I can only watch 5 minutes of you on the podcast, fucker.
Hey, I do want to point out, as Jessica's just pointed out, that Josh Naylor just hit the go-ahead home run. Guardians are up 7-6.
See, when I get on the screen, Andy, good things happen.
As soon as you got here, Ed. Hey, Ed, Ed, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
How is it possible that you think Dan remembers or even coherent when you said that they were going to be? You can't blame the guy if he's in a blackout like when you're doing that or something.
Roger, you're absolutely correct. And when Dan said that he was at a 4 drinking, if he would have said a 10, it'd probably be blacked out, but he'd probably have better memory. So you know what? You're absolutely right, Roger.
Okay.
All right.
I don't want you to get upset, Ed. I just, I know that you said 11-6.
Imitation is the best form of flattery. Dan, you got a whore mouth, but you know what? I take that in your take today. I should be thanking you. That was a great take.
I thought it was the alcohol. Look, if Deshaun Watson is out the full season, then he's not going to be out the full season. But if he doesn't play a snap for us this season, we're not going 11-6. Sorry.
So you don't think? Hold on. Even if Jacoby Brissett is a starter, you don't think that he had enough talent to do what Baker did in 2019?
No.
Or 2020.
2020. Baker played very well in 2020. I do not think Jacoby Brissett's going to play that well. I think he'll be better than Baker was last season, not as good as Baker was in 2020. We are not going.
Andy, he doesn't need to be. Did you not see the Nick Carnes tweet that when Jacoby Brissett was a starter for Indianapolis, he had one more touchdown, and then he had half the interceptions? Look, we were 8-9 last year. We kept saying if Baker wasn't a bottom 5 quarterback, Jacoby Brissett will not be a bottom 5 quarterback. Have more faith in him, and I don't see why. See, now your argument's changing. So, I don't get it, Andy. Why you're a Clevelander. You're Cleveland. Look, I've been in Columbus for 30 years. Happy anniversary to me, July 1992. I've been in Columbus for 30 years. I'm a winner. You guys need to be winners. You won in 2016. The Cleveland Browns will be 11-6 regardless. Stop fanning scared, you cuts.
I think that Keenum wins. I think Keenum wins 2 to 3 more games next year.
Thank you, Roger. You got an ugly hat. That's an ugly hat, Roger, but that's a great point.
Today is DPJ and Wino Stan night on the Dawg Chug. So
here is the beauty of what's going to happen. I have my take, you have your take, and then the season's going to play out, and we'll see who's right. And actually, we're not going to see who's right. Deshaun Watson's going to play.
You don't want to be on the wrong side of history,
prediction, Andy?
What's that?
What's your prediction, Andy?
If we don't have any Deshaun Watson, this is 8-9 or 9-18.
No, man.
No.
You don't even trust the defense if you're giving me that kind of numbers.
Well, that's why I'm at.
What's going on at the end of the world? We're Dan and I are agreeing. Andy over here. What's going on here? And Roger's in the middle.
Negative Nancy motherfucker.
Roger, take a sip, Roger. Roger take a sip. Roger needs to take a sip. He's sipping on this.
All right. Well, Dan, thank you. I think your take needs a little bit of work, so I cannot wait to see what you come up with next week. Assuming you come back on for your 12th appearance in a row. This is an amazing.
I'm going to make sure I'm fucking hammered next week.
All right.
You're going to get the full whore mouth, motherfuckers.
Hey, Dan, it was a pleasure working with you tonight, sir.
You too, Ed.
Thank you. He was right. Dan was right. I got to say, Dan had a 4. He makes a lot of sense.
Okay, your opinion. We got it. Let's move on. First of all, I got something. Do you know that I love you, Ed? Do you know?
Yeah. I think so.
Do you ever doubt it?
I think so.
At least, look, I doubt a lot of things, at least like 20 seconds out of every minute.
Well, during the 20 seconds that you doubt that I do love you, just remember this moment.
Oh!
No.
I got the one that's like not racist.
Whoa! How does that make you feel?
I feel good. I like wearing an Columbus shirt. It's a lot quieter than the real thing. I'll tell you that.
Oh, okay. Well, probably cleaner. Probably a lot cleaner too.
All right. Well, let's
that is sharp.
Bring Ross on. Ross, how's it going tonight?
Pretty good. Just trying to produce, but I didn't have the chance to mute Ed, which was unfortunate.
Yeah, please get on that mute button.
You kept asking him to talk. I don't appreciate that.
Maybe we should bring on a 5th member that their only job is to mute Ed.
Who do you think we should bring?
I think Jessica would be pretty good at that.
I think.
Didn't we say like his daughter would be really good at it too?
Ed would be on the show.
Have your daughter do it. Yeah. Kelly would be great too.
And a rat.
Don't get me started, Roger. Don't get me started.
Maybe we should have Rally Possum do it.
No, I don't know of anybody like named that anymore.
Let's get the Garage Rat to do it.
Gage says that Gage would mute Ed. So
Okay,
you're
I like
fired.
Gage, Texas. He's from Texas. We love our Texas fans. He's a Cowboys fan.
All right. We're all going to see each other this weekend, correct?
Yes.
Everyone's going to be there. I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun.
Sure.
We're all going to training camp
Yeah.
with the Barking Browns and a couple other friends. It's going to be a blast. I do have a confession to make. This is going to be super awkward. I think Ed's already heard. Sorry that Nick Carnes spoiled. Essentially, I kind of invited Nick and Jacob invited Mitch, who usually is out there watching us. Shout out to Mitch Metz. But the Browns called me and offered me a VIP experience upgrade. So I'm hoping we can like rotate in and out because we get food and refreshments and shade. But we'll have to see how that works out.
Yeah, my coworker was rubbing it in my face that he got that call too, and I'm just sitting there like a regular season ticket holder, not getting any perks.
Wow.
Andy, you
Now
wear
I
that
know
shirt,
two people
Andy?
that got it.
Yeah.
You wear that shirt, Andy, you're going to get VIP treatment no matter what. I tell you that. It's a good-looking shirt.
Yeah. Are you coming on to me? Because not.
No,
do
not
want
at all. Your shirt's very sexy. You got a sexy
I
shirt
heard
on.
Deshaun was giving some VIP treatment to some of the ladies.
Hey now.
All right. So I'm glad we're all on. We're going to introduce an exciting new bit to the Dawg Chug because the show is getting a little stale. And basically now that we're actually going to have Browns news to talk about, we wanted to do something exciting. So we're going to introduce today the brand new bit that hopefully we're going to do each week, the Dawg Chug updates, where we're going to tell all our fans all the news that you need to hear because a lot of people complained we don't have enough actual Browns news on the show. So that's changing now. So here we go. The Dawg Chug updates. Let's see who has the first story. We're all gonna be reporters and we're gonna report on.
Me.
Ed, you're up first.
Yes. Okay. So, all right. Well, Nate Davis of USA Today incorrectly predicted all 32 teams' records because he has the Browns at 6-11. Suddenly, Nate Davis has become the most talked about guy on Browns Twitter. Has more mentions than Sue Robinson, Baker Mayfield, and Deshaun Watson combined. The Dawg Chug is predicting the 2022 Cleveland Browns going 0-17, and we're actually doing one better than Hugh Jackson is 0-16. So we're going to be talked about, and let's go.
Hey Ed, you'll finally get a parade.
Wasn't there one in 26? Didn't you fools put one on when it was cold out when you guys went 0-16?
You fools! I said you're getting a parade.
Oh, that's gonna be it's gonna be huge, Ross. I'm sorry, I didn't. Yeah, I'm. You know what? This is a great bit. I'm so pumped that I got to be the first guy to do this, the maiden voyage.
Hey, you do such good work over at Down with the Browns that I had to feature you first. Really get the energy going.
Thank you. That's a great looking shirt. Again, once again, I have to keep saying that.
All right, what's the next story?
I'm up. So, owner of the Cincinnati Bengals and Homer Simpson impersonator Mike Brown, who has a big quarterback contract looming just as the new TV money will hit the salary cap, said Monday that he likes the way Patrick Mahomes doesn't care what other QBs are getting, and this attitude will help put the Bengals in position to re-sign all their average players. Gee, Mike, do you think Burrow got your subtle message? Some owners are playing chess, but you're playing peekaboo.
In baseball news, the Washington Nationals put slugger Juan Soto on the trading block after he turned down their $440 million offer. While the Nationals front offices were searching for the best offer for the slugger, Nationals ownership has reached out to a lawyer, Tony Busby, and his massage hooker contacts so they can run the same con that was used to take down Deshaun Watson.
Nice. All right, to round this out, Browns fans that were hoping for a Judge Sue Robinson decision this week were disappointed as the wait continues, which is admittedly surprising as it only took weeks for the entire country of France to fall to the Germans, and it's taken months, and this Nazi bitch can't make up her damn mind. And that's the Dawg Chug update. We'll get it streamlined.
We got.
Oh no! You went and did it now.
Oh.
Roger, that
What?
Nazi line is just, it's never going to get old.
Roger,
Yes.
Classe got the save. I just want to, maybe that'll help us feel better about the Nazis. So Classe got the save. Go Guards.
You know, the whole Nazi thing, when we wrote that, like that was when Deshaun Watson, and it was just people on Twitter were just saying the most craziest things, and Twitter was just a disaster. And Andy and I were writing that top 10 bit, and like I was just getting frustrated. And I was just like, he has him as a Nazi.
I got a question for Roger. I got
Yeah.
a question for Roger. I was going to ask Andy this question, but I want to ask Roger this question because I want a fair and impartial jury here. Roger, why do you think it is that a certain producer can wear a hat on him? If I was wearing that same hat, Andy would have called me out by now. And would he have not, Roger? If I would be wearing that Chief Wahoo hat, would Andy have called me out and called me, racist by this point in the show?
And it'd have been huge. It'd have been huge. Huge.
All right, you didn't answer. his
I think he would have. Yeah, I think by now you would have got a little business over it.
So I want to ask my questions to Andy. Why is that?
First of all, I would not besmirch you at all for wearing an Indian's hat. If you want to do that, that's cool. I wear one next time. I swear I would not say anything.
Oh, okay, I'm just surprised.
People are allowed to do what feels right for them, and I don't care.
There goes our streak of not submitting complaint to HR. That's like we went like 2 months without HR coming out.
Why had to give Roger something to do? I had to give Roger something to do.
Yeah. So Roger, can you reach out to our HR consultant and file that one?
I love the Cleveland Indians. I love the Chief Wahoo. It's a part of my childhood. I've been a longtime fan of this team. I think it was time to move on. I'm glad we moved on. Guardians is kind of like, I don't know. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but I'm happy to call them that. But I'm not going to – if you want to celebrate what they were called last year, go for it.
Wow, Andy, the year of Ed, and you are acting like Ed right now, and I love that's a great answer. That's a great answer.
All right.
I'm going to walk around with them forever.
All right. Do you believe that I'm being real, or do you think I'm –
No, I'm actually thinking that's the right answer, Andy. And it's just surprised because I just feel like if I was wearing that hat, that maybe you just give me shit to give me shit. I don't know.
No,
but I just feel
I love giving you shit, but not about that. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Andy, I'm just surprised by that answer because it was so Ed-like. You went to Ed school. So, hey, congratulations.
All right. Okay. Well, excellent job, guys. That was a lot of fun doing the Dawg Chug update. Hopefully we can make it better in the future. But this was a good prototype. So thank you everyone for all the hard work. And let's see, Rob, we're going to send you back to the producer room, do some good producing, and feel free to come do some shotgunning if you want. I love when you do that. Oh God, we always hit the button at the same time. Doesn't work that way. Ed, you are such a good announcer. Why don't you bring on our amazing guests? We've had 2 great guests in a row. And before that too, we had great guests, but we're only saying that because the ratings have been up a little bit lately.
Well, our amazing guest comes from the Offside Sports Network. He is the one and only LarkDawg, and let me tell you what, when it comes to putting together things for Twitter, when it comes to images and things like that, there's nobody better. We got a good one over at Offsides. LarkDawg, come on down.
Welcome, LarkDawg. Welcome to the Dawg Chug.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Let me,
So last week we did our Dawg Chug Madden rankings, and all of a sudden when the show ended, we saw this amazing graphic that Offsides had put out there that blew our minds. We didn't even tell you to do it. It was just done, and it was hilarious, and it drove a lot of engagement, and it was wonderful. And you are the man behind the graphic.
yes.
So thank you so much for doing that. You've actually helped with the Dawg Chug update and a couple other things for the show. You're amazing. So we appreciate the effort. It's so good to be part of the Offsides family, to get that level of support, because the 4 of us aren't going to do shit.
Andy, let the audience know that's not watching because they're going to be listening on our podcast. What graphic are you specifically referring to? So
if you're on Twitter, I'm sure you would have seen it. But
I know, but people actually listen to the show, so let them know, Andy. Let them know, like the Cavs say. Let them know.
Yeah, the Dawg Chug Madden rankings were produced in an amazing graphic last week. This week we had a graphic for our Dawg Chug update, which Lark helped us out on. So Yeah, a lot of great things that are going to make the show even better than it was, which is crazy because we were awful.
How can you?
So-
I was impressed with it. I mean, LarkDawg, it's good to meet you in person. We talk a lot.
Yes,
This
good
is-
to meet you guys.
This is my extent. Every time I sit down in this chair for Dawg Chug, I'm like Captain Kirk, and my computer knowledge goes this far. So I was amazed. It blew me away. It made Thursday awesome. Thursday was awesome, man. We had a good day Thursday talking about it was really cool, man. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Yeah, my pleasure. Sorry, I'm moving around. Yeah, no, my pleasure. I do this for fun, and I was listening last week, and I figured, hey, what better way to celebrate the Dawg Chug rankings than with a Madden style top 10, and of course, I mean, Ed being number one, who
Let
didn't
everybody
see
know
that
who was
coming?
number one. Who was number one?
yeah, who didn't see Ed coming? Like, come on.
So Lark got so detailed on that graphic. He used all our profile pictures, but Baby Manch doesn't have a Twitter profile yet. So
Correct.
you got a picture
That
of
was the
an
best.
ultrasound
Attack.
holding a beer.
Yeah,
and
it was a
taco.
sonogram eating a taco and drinking a beer.
That was
Well done. So anyway, tell us a little bit about your story. How long you've been a Browns fan?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm 35. So I grew up. Earliest memories were of Bernie Kosar, as far as the Browns are concerned. Learned about Brian Sipe from my parents, and was 7 years old when Art picked up and moved the team. So when you're a 7-year-old kid, and then it seems like your first love, gets pulled from you. It was tough. Luckily, got to grow up in the 90s, an Indians fan as well. So it wasn't a bad trade-off during that time. But yeah, I've been a fan since the beginning of the 90s. And,
Nice.
from there I got to see decent football, and then I've gotten to see not so decent football. So I think that's what's awesome about, these podcasts, Twitter, and Offsides and the network, is getting people from different backgrounds together to share their love of the fandom, but then get creative as well and do things like this. So that's fun. I'm an East Sider, live here with my wife and my dogs. I do a podcast of my own called the O Brother Pod, and it's basically it's in its infancy still, but the whole thought process behind it is things from the older brother's perspective. Like, I don't want to be somebody else's dad. I don't want to tell you that, like, I don't want to raise somebody else and to say, oh, this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do. I kind of want to be like, hey, this is kind of how life is, and life is shitty sometimes, and sometimes you just need that perspective when you're not getting it at home. So
would you give Ed shit for wearing a Cleveland Indians Chief Wahoo hat?
See, it all depends on context. If he was doing it out of protest, maybe. But I'm the type of guy that just calls it a throwback. So
I got a question for you, Stark, because you said you're roughly 35, which is older than a lot of people that we're in this game with. So I just want your take on, so in 1997, so after, obviously you're 7 years old when the Browns moved to 95.
Yep.
So 97, what was because I was I was a senior in high school when the Indians lost Game 7 of the World Series. So I always like to get different perspectives, because obviously you were probably in elementary school?
I was 10 years old. Yeah. So my brother and I was 10. My brother,
how did you take that? Like, you remember the 97 World Series?
Yes.
Seem to be having a internet issue, which hopefully that'll get cleared up.
Well,
soon.
it's a tough question, Andy. That's the tough. It brings back emotions.
You think he's thinking?
even Spectrum was like, fuck.
Yeah, it didn't like my question.
Well, Ed, why don't you tell us what you were thinking about that game?
Okay, so let me tell you about Ed in Columbus. Waking up Sunday,
I
can't wait.
October 26th, 1997. Ed in Columbus was working at Kentucky Fried Chicken that day. So he wakes up, he does his shift. But halfway during the shift, about 2:00, I go with my friend. We get drunk. We may have indulged in some recreational things I don't want to say, but unlike Bill Clinton, I did inhale. So I get back to work for a couple more hours. I go home. I fall asleep for about 2 hours. I wake up. I'm so nervous. This game 7, the Indians could win. Cleveland could win a championship. I'm in my parents' basement at the time, and I'm in the rocking chair, and I can't even move. And 2 outs away. And when Jose Mesa gave up that tying run and we couldn't score in the 10th and 11th inning, I wanted to cry. I knew it was over with. And when it was over with, I sat in my chair for 20 minutes thinking, I don't know whenever Cleveland's going to win a championship. And it took till 2016. And thank God for LeBron James. I should say thank God for Kyrie Irving, but that's not popular with the round earthers you got up in Northeast Ohio.
My goodness, it took longer for you to answer that than it took for Sue Robinson to come up with a decision. Good job.
I lost a brick of miles on that World Series.
I just wanted to remember getting drunk and having fun that day, I guess. I don't know.
Clark, are you back?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So how was 1997?
In the office. What's that?
How was 1997, Game 7? Do you remember?
Okay, so 10-year-old's perspective. My brother and I watching on the couch, and my mom let us stay up late for the game. I believe Jarrett Wright started that game.
Yep. On 3 days rest.
So, yeah.
3 days rest.
So Jarrett Wright started. It was a tight game. You know, I remember it, dude, like it was yesterday. It's my earliest heartbreak, and second earliest heartbreak in Cleveland after the Browns leaving. And then I remember making signs. You know, we had these old folders, and my brother and I made signs and wrote "The night is right" and WRIGHT.
Oh wow!
And we pinned them up on the wall in the living room, and my mom was like just letting us be fans, and it was awesome. But yeah, it was tough. I mean, that was, you know, you have to learn how to lose at a young age in order to get by and get on to the next thing. However, I've learned how to lose like a Cleveland fan at a young age. So I'm always stuck in next year mode. So it was tough, but I mean, some of those teams through the 90s, man. I mean, you don't get.
They were fun. They were fun.
You do not. I mean, Wahoo would have finished. I played the hell out of that tape.
I had the VHS. Wahoo would have finished. We all did.
And then the Tribe success story, and then Cleveland Rocks. Obviously, those 3 years. Some of the best baseball memories ever. And the Jake. It's always going to be the Jake.
That's right.
But yeah, that was fun. So.
You know, it's funny because your first memories as a heartbreak was 97 and being a kid. I was a little bit older than you, somewhat like a decade. So, you know, mine was the drive and the fumble.
Yeah.
that was not fun.
I can empathize, man. Like that's,
Andy, move the show along. This is turning into a funeral here.
All right. Well, I actually wanted to bring up a little bit of a theory, see what you guys think. I know there's like a lot of questions, you know, did Andrew Berry really want to get Deshaun Watson, or was it pushed on him from ownership? And I'm like pretty firmly entrenched that it was his decision, but I still can't like question. Maybe it was pushed from ownership because it doesn't seem like a very Andrew Berry type move that we've seen from him to make. Anyway, sorry. Point is, I think something came out yesterday that sort of makes me a little bit more confident that this was an Andrew Berry move. What's his name? Coisi, the guy that went to be the general manager of the Vikings, Andrew Berry's understudy. He was asked about, is Cousins good enough to get to the Super Bowl? And he answered very honestly, like surprisingly honestly, which sometimes Andrew Berry, I think, does too. They're very similar. But he basically said, you know, a team is more likely to win if you have that quarterback, and it's very unlikely to win a Super Bowl if you don't have that guy. And he sort of, you know, suggested that Kirk Cousins, you know, isn't the guy, but we still have a chance, but we need to upgrade the position. The reality is we didn't have an opportunity to upgrade the position. I find that very interesting because, you know, that is exactly the narrative that the Browns knew they needed to upgrade from Baker, but unless they found the quarterback, I don't know what they would have done, honestly. So I'm now more firmly believing that this is Andrew Berry's guy. Not sure it's Kevin Stefanski's guy, but I am pretty confident it is Andrew Berry's guy. What do you guys think? Don't know.
Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I mean, but I'll sip to that. Is that the rules? Forgive me.
This is not spit, sip, chug. We're just having a conversation, but you can go ahead and sip or do whatever you want.
If you want.
Yeah. I think it's funny because you're always in the position to win if you make the playoffs. You're always in the position to win a championship if you're in the playoffs. So if that's the case, you essentially have to be the top 16 teams or better. Or I'm sorry, top 8 teams or better, or whatever it is. Oh, I can't think right now. But you have to be in the upper echelon of the league. So that being said, I mean, Cousins, is he a Super Bowl quarterback? Probably not, but I mean, nobody thought Nick Foles was going to win a Super Bowl in Philly. So they're serviceable, but they're not that shiny toy that is the leader of the team.
Didn't they? What did they give Kirk Cousins? Didn't they?
3 years, 3 years, $90 million guaranteed.
So they're building around a guy that he's admitting isn't good enough. Like,
Yeah.
But he just got there, so
yeah, but he was the one that gave him the contract.
Yeah.
He could have moved on. But I guess the bottom line is until you have a better option, you should probably stick with what you've got. Right?
I think you're right, Andy. I think you're absolutely right. I think you're right. But I don't know about the acquisition of Deshaun Watson was exactly an Andrew. I think Andrew Berry would always say, I need to upgrade. He's that analytical kind of guy where he takes emotions out of it. So yes, I think in a perfect world, Andrew Berry would always say, give me Deshaun Watson over Baker or over another or Kirk Cousins or anybody. But I think how the acquisition of Deshaun Watson, that came through ownership. When Baker Mayfield spurned Jimmy Haslam, I bet you Jimmy put his fist on the table like an old nice Tennessee man, say, hey, Rocket Top, we need to go get us some Deshaun Watson. And they went down there and they took whatever, so that's what I think. So I still think the narrative of how we actually got him was ownership driven. But I think the philosophical point that you're saying about Andrew Berry when it comes to getting that quarterback, and if that quarterback happens to be Deshaun, yeah, I'm saying, yes, he would have done it. But I don't think that Andrew Berry by himself this year would have gotten Deshaun Watson if it wasn't for Jimmy.
So that's very interesting. Let me ask you this question. If, let's say we struck out on Deshaun Watson, struck out on all the other elite quarterbacks, and Kawisi called Andrew Berry and said, look, I need to move on from this guy. I don't want him. Help me out. We'll take Baker. You get Kirk Cousins. And
Stefanski would do it in a heartbeat.
He is going to want a 3-year contract, though. He's going to want a $90 million 3-year contract. What do you do with that?
I know quarterbacks, the prices, look at Tyreek Hill getting a $30 million.
Yeah,
the prices going up so high.
The question is he going to commit to Kirk Cousins for 3 years?
Yeah, because maybe they'll front load it. Maybe they'll front load it. It'll be really like a 2-year deal. And then, you know what I'm saying? So I know what you're saying. 3 years is a lot for Kirk Cousins. I still think he's got 2 good years left, though. And Stefanski would love him over Baker. So, yeah, I do.
I don't think we would have made a lateral move. And I do consider Kirk Cousins from Baker kind of a lateral.
I know that locker room didn't like Baker. I think there's a lot of things that are coming out right now.
That's the key point. If you might have had to move on from Baker because it seems like the locker room is frustrated with him. But failing that, I think.
No, you're right. From a philosophy, they are. It is a lateral move. Yes, I would concur.
Lark, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you could see it just in the body language between Stefanski and Baker towards midseason, then towards the end of the season. It wasn't the right match, and I say this. I'll say it in the podcast. I'll say it, to the people I deal with at work. Everybody's got their puzzle piece, and just sometimes the puzzle piece just doesn't fit. So it's not that it's a bad piece and like that piece is broken. It's just that it doesn't fit the puzzle that it's trying to fit in. So because of that, yeah, I could see a possibility of them moving on to a lateral move in the case of Cousins because of the previous relationship. And, that being said, save a little bit of money. You could have went and got other weapons prior to sinking all that guaranteed money into Watson. Now, on the flip side of things, to your point, was it an ownership driven move? I think Jimmy goes to Andrew Berry and says, I don't care what it costs. Go get me a Super Bowl quarterback.
Yep.
Okay. Roger.
Oh.
Weigh in. Jeff and Kirk.
I think it was Andrew Berry. I remember when Andrew Berry was at the press conference that Baker Mayfield needs to prove himself to get a contract in 2022, and Andrew Berry had responded, I've seen all I need to see. And that was, I believe, after Detroit. And a lot of people took it as, a positive. And as soon as he said it, just the tone that he used, I felt like a negative to me. He felt like he's done with them. He's done. And I think the first person he went to talk to was Kevin Stefanski about it when he just made the decision that he's going to go after it. And I also believe that the hardest person to convince to do it is the guy that's actually the boss of Paul DePodesta, because he's the analytics guy. Andrew Berry knew that if he didn't go get a quarterback, he wouldn't have a job in 2 years. And Kevin Stefanski also wouldn't have a job in 2 years. They weren't going to win with Baker, and they're going to win bringing in Jameis Winston or Mitchell Trubisky or even Matt Ryan or Kirk Cousins. They needed to go out and get a franchise quarterback, and it might be another 20 years before the Cleveland Browns have a shot at another franchise quarterback. I think it was all Andrew Berry. If it was Jimmy Haslam, Andrew Berry said, "You got it, boss. I'm on my way." You know what I mean? Because it's going to save his job. I think it's 100% Andrew Berry. He's ice. He's fucking ice. I love him. He looks smooth and like quiet. He's fucking ice, man. He'll put a dagger in your neck before you can blink. Yeah, I love him. It was all him.
Great Christian points out that he remembers when we all thought Baker was a saver. It's so sad. A year ago, we were so excited. But, we're sort of excited about this season once we figure out what the hell's going on. And it'll be fun, I guess, to watch how Baker does in Carolina. And I do.
He threw an interception today. If you watch the.
Listen, I want to point out to Twitter, maybe just a little annoyance that I'm feeling. Training camp starts today. I'm excited. I'm really looking through Twitter today a lot. Maybe that's Robinson news will drop. And I don't know. Felt like 40% of Twitter was about Baker Mayfield today. Can Cleveland shut the fuck up about Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, man.
He went this way. We're going this way. Like, stop talking about it. You look like a loser. Even if I don't care which side you're on. Like, I love Baker. I can't wait for him to show the Browns up. Fuck off you. And then, Baker sucks. Like, fuck off you. At the end of the day, Baker is on his new team, and we're going this way. So just chill out. Stop posting incessantly about Baker. You get one Baker Mayfield tweet a week. If you go beyond that, I'm calling you out.
I want out so bad, Andy. I'm trying to get out, and I can't get out. I'm stuck in it. I swear off it every day, and I'll see one, and I'm like, "You son of a bitch," and then I start typing, and that's the end of it.
Good luck raising your son in a world like this, Andy. Baby man, just live in a world.
I'm not going to be so much a father. I'm going to try and raise him as a brother. Right?
Okay, that's good. I like that.
Lark did offer, if anyone is having any kind of issues and wants to get a brotherly opinion, you feel free to DM him. He will listen and give you great advice. Thank you for that.
I'm going to check that out for sure. I thought he did a wrestling podcast because I was listening to you on a wrestling podcast. And
why don't you talk to us about the wrestling podcast? And I want to ask, where is wrestling going with the changes that they've made?
Yeah,
this is nuts, man. This is another thing about being a child of the 90s, the Attitude Era in wrestling and the Monday Night Wars. So you're pulling at all heartstrings right now. And, being a lower middle class family and kind of a little bit of blue collar in me and that redneck, like kind of pro wrestling just fit, I guess, to be a fan of. So that being said, that podcast is verified. That's with Tony Battaglio, DF, Derek, DF Sports, and Ostino. And it's a general sports podcast, but they were talking about wrestling the other day. And huge news in the wrestling world. Vince McMahon forced to step down as CEO and chairman of the WWE, and for obviously for scandalous reasons, but being a fan, this is a huge moment in professional wrestling because he kind of had that thumb on the industry, and everybody's standard was set off from Vince McMahon. So this is crazy. It's gonna, if you're a fan of professional wrestling, or you were, I think this is going to be much like how the 90s were. And I think that a fresh look into things now with Triple H and Vince's daughter, Stephanie, I feel like it's going to be much more entertaining. It's going to take a little bit to get everybody, in the right lane and find their puzzle piece. But it's going to be fun.
Nice. Let me ask you this question. So wrestling, as WWE, as I understand, has kind of gotten into a little bit of a rut recently. Do you think if wrestling was doing better, maybe Vince would have survived this scandal?
I don't believe so. So he did a lot of horrible things. I mean, let's call it what it is. I mean, from all the speculation as well as the stories that are coming out with rape allegations and hush money allegations and stuff where he might be federally prosecuted. I don't think it's like how it was back in the day when there was the steroid scandal and he just went on TV and basically said, fuck you to everybody else. I'm going to do my own thing and I'm still going to run my business. I think he was going to try and do that. And then more and more things came out. And I think it's just kind of the perfect storm. He's getting to that age. I think he's 77. I mean, 77-year-old CEO getting in any company getting accused of rape and then hush money allegations and those types of scandals. I don't think anybody can survive that, let alone Vince McMahon.
Unless you're like the former president, Ed. What do you think about that?
My question is, okay, so what is that? AEW wrestling? Okay, Tony Khan or whatever. Don't they own the Jacksonville Jaguars? His father or whatever.
The Khan family.
Yeah. Khan family. So what is in the next 5 to 10 years? What do you see with it? Because you were talking about the wars of the 1990s, WCW versus WWF at the time. That was fun. My era was a little bit before that, but I watched all throughout that. And so, what is your take on them? Will they eventually be, WWE actually, take them on, or will they still be independent and still be doing their thing?
I think as of late, within the last 6 to 12 months, AEW kind of overtook WWE with regards to consistent ratings, and I think the 0 to 35 male demographic, and I think 35 and up total. I'm not entirely sure what those units are, but that all being said, from a fan standpoint, I was always, I was raised in WWF.
Me too.
WWF over WCW. I never watched Nitro. I never watched anything. And then all of a sudden, when Vince bought WCW, there was no competition. So when there was really no competition except these little markets, he could put whatever he wanted to on TV. And when he did that, they kind of switched over to a PG format. And when they switched over to PG, it kind of lost its luster, at least for me. Not saying I need blood and gore, but I feel like a lot of things were like too.
You want it to be edgy.
Yeah, at least something. We all know it's scripted. We all know it's not real, but I don't want to watch.
Whoa. We don't know it's scripted. We think it's pretty sure.
But even we have rules on the Dawg Chug.
Can you edit that out?
We will.
We're live.
We're live.
We're live. Not my kids. I can't let them watch the show.
Okay.
All right. Let me ask you this question. Oh, sorry. You were still saying.
Well, I think what was happening is that Vince was gearing up to sell the company. I think he was trying to, make the product more family friendly so he could appeal to a bigger demographic, the family, not just the now 35 plus that used to watch the Attitude Era. And he was getting ready for a huge sale. And I think all this stuff just threw a wrench in everything. Now, I still think the company can be sold within the next few years, but now with Triple H being the head of creative and him having final say, I was a very huge fan of NXT when it started. And Triple H used to run NXT. So now he's going to be running WWE with all of the roster, and he could possibly run it the same way that he did NXT. That gets me excited. That's like, okay, this is like where the silly storylines are out of the way and you actually get to watch like the art of wrestling. Like I like wrestling because I respect how athletic these guys are, and they could fly through the air and do shit that to still like catch you by surprise, be like, holy shit, like what happened? It's like watching professional stuntmen live at work.
So you're saying you don't like when Johnny Knoxville and Wee Man can come in the ring and start kicking ass?
You know what? I got to give credit to Johnny Knoxville. He got the shit kicked out of him.
I think
they did that. I think they did that for real with him. But
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I like when the divas wrestle. I ain't gonna lie.
Hey, when I listened to you guys the other night, and I read the article about Vince McMahon the other day, and In 1978, I was fifth grade. I grew up in a little Italian neighborhood on the west side of Cleveland. The church and the school's right in the middle. And we have basketball practice after school, and we practiced basketball. And a guy, Tony Vaccaro from the neighborhood, come in with a bunch of people. And it was the first night he started doing wrestling in the gym. And everybody would come. And he'd have guys like Flying Fred Curry. Gorilla Monsoon wrestled there.
Oh, wow.
And this is before even – so now fast forward to I'm like 13 years old, and I'm staying at my buddy's house, and we're doing bong hits, watching WWF, on Saturday mornings. And wrestling from where it started, like when I first was introduced, 1 year in the gym, Tony and his tag team partner were getting beat up by the Iron Sheik and another guy, and all the Italians in the stands went nuts, and they attacked the stage, the ring, with chairs, and it was crazy. All the wrestlers come running out of the wrestling room, and it was like my introduction to to wrestling. And we'd go in the backyard, and it was way before Hulk Hogan wasn't even, he was wrestling on the circuit, going to gyms at high schools. But what it is today, I'm not familiar. You know what I mean? It just doesn't resonate with me. I'm a Cyndi Lauper, Roddy Piper, and Captain Lou Albino era, fan. And then that's where it ended. Because like I started dating girls and shit.
Round 16 is when I kind of stopped watching this.
I'm gonna chug, Andy. I'm gonna chug to that. I'm gonna chug to Roger's story. I'm gonna chug to this.
Why we all started cracking up? Ross typed in the chat Roger's life story of the week, and oh my god, that hit us all.
I knew you guys would want. I had one to where I was at during the 2007 the 1997 World Series, but I didn't get it in, so I had to get this one in. I got a story for every occasion.
All right, Lark, I have one more question for you. Nathan Zagura seems to be kind of a polarizing guy in Cleveland. I happen to really respect the way that he can really talk everything Cleveland Browns very fast. He gets in a lot of words. He's great. How is he when he talks wrestling?
So I just learned this the other night, and this is crazy. Nathan Zagura is one of the main color commentators for AIW. And that's crazy for me because, I like listening to him on, I can't even think of the name. Yeah,
Cleveland
the 1
Browns
o'clock show. Yeah, Cleveland Browns Daily. I like hearing what he's got to say about the Browns, but obviously, like I said, things may be planned. There might be certain stories to attest to through. From what I heard, there was a stream that we were watching the other night, and he's very smooth with how he talks with wrestling. He's a huge wrestling fan, and I think it's still the same. If you watched it all in the late '80s or through the '90s, you kind of got a feel of what was huge in professional wrestling. And he's from what it seems, he sounds like he's great at what he does.
Nice. Well, I can't wait to hear him being on the Browns broadcast this season. I think he's going to do great. Let's bring Ross on really quick. Ross, you're a wrestling fan. Do you have anything to add to this conversation?
Well, just mainly that the timing of Vince McMahon, I guess, resigning and having to leave is kind of perfect for AEW. AEW is a very legit wrestling company for a lot of people that don't follow it more recently and think WWE is still a thing. That's the main thing to look out for. There's real competition and a lot to be excited about. So what's kind of funny for me is I actually didn't grow up watching wrestling. I got really into it in 2016. So I was a late bloomer and I was watching WWE, but what Slark was saying, it's the athleticism. And I think when you're an adult, you're you start getting back pain, then you start realizing people are slamming their backs on the ground. So you're more impressed by wrestling now than you were as a kid. So I think now is actually a really good time for people that might have made fun of wrestling growing up because there's more of that athleticism going on. So all I can say is if you don't care for wrestling or think it's a joke, maybe watch AEW, and even a lot of WWE stuff now too is more athletic. So give it a shot. It's actually very entertaining. But that's really all I've got. I haven't followed it too much recently. when I do watch AEW more. I'll be honest, but yeah, it's a good time to get into it if you've always kind of made fun of it or doubted it.
Ed, I can see you chomping on the bit, Ed. What do you got?
I got something. I want to tie something together because I'm a people person. So I'm going to tie Nathan Zagura with Ross. And here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it through the Normandy Invaders. And here's what happened. Miz is an alum of Normandy, and so is Ross. Okay, so then I watched the Miz on, obviously Raw and all that. And then after, he's got a show with his wife. Who's very attractive, Mr. and Mrs. And they showed an episode, this is, I think, season 1, where the Miz flew back to Cleveland because he had to do a fantasy football draft, and he was with Nathan Zagura. So that was one of the episodes. So that's how I'm going to tie that together. So there's the Cleveland connection. And yes, we love Nathan Zagura.
Dana Brooke went to my grade school.
Dana Brooke, yes.
She went to my grade school. She was 2 grades above me.
So the connection was they went to school together. But what was the reason for all the other stuff you said?
I think it tied in somehow. I can't relate that at this point, Andy.
Okay, Roger, you were going to say something.
No, I was absolutely not going to say anything.
I
I'm staying out of it.
I can't hear, unfortunately. Let's move it along to Spit Sip Chug.
Yes,
Ross, we can get back to producing, I think, because we've been told we're doing a little too long. I think when we get to the season, Ed, you're gonna maybe say when you have a
yeah, I got you.
But this week we're gonna have you on for all.
I'll be shorter this week. I know we're under time crunch.
We don't really have any Browns news this week. It feels like we do because training camp just started, but it was literally the most vanilla day of training camp I've ever heard.
It was all about Baker Mayfield today. Everybody was writing about fucking Baker Mayfield.
Don't even get me started, Roger. I just calmed down.
And I got you going again. I'm sorry.
So here we go. Spit Sip Chug. Lark, you're obviously a huge fan of the show. But I'm going to explain it for, all the viewers today that have never seen the show. I'm going to make a statement. If you strongly agree with it, you're going to chug your beverage and explain why. If you're tepid, you're going to sip your beverage and explain why. And if you strongly disagree, you're going to hawk a big loogie on your floor, which, by the way, my floor is disgusting over here. Do not go over there, please. What part of East Side are you from? Because I am a fellow East Sider. If you don't feel comfortable saying that on
no, that's fine. So I grew up in Perry. Nice. So I'm out in the Willoughby area now. So
did you get like all that free cable and all that? Like the perks of living in Perry is amazing, right?
Man, so that's funny that you ask it that way because so many people go, oh, so like do you glow and everything because of the power plant, which is stupid shit. But so I think we got free trash and stuff cable when we lived in our one house in North Perry. But like the rest of Perry doesn't get it. It's only North Perry. So it's Perry itself, like North Perry, Perry Village, and Perry Township, all one town, are all like together smaller than like Lakewood. It's all tiny. So it was just like a sector of Perry got all that. All that.
I am a real estate agent. I've showed houses in Perry, and the perks you get to live with a nuclear power plant, miles away is amazing. You get like free everything essentially. It's awesome. Mm-hmm. I would totally build one in my backyard.
Andy, I've been 30 years out of Cleveland, but I'll always remember this: West Side's the best side. West Side for life. I love West Side Cleveland.
I mean, that's fine. You're allowed to have your stupid opinions. It's okay. Anyway, we're gonna move it along to statement number 1. Fuck you, Ross. I got that right. Okay, the Major League Baseball trade deadline is 6 days away, and the Cleveland Guardians will make big moves. Roger, we're going to start with you.
If they make any moves, it's going to be for middle relievers that have some control on their contracts. We're not 1 or 2 players away from contending the World Series. We got a very young team. We do have a logjam in the outfield, and I don't think they wouldn't be unwilling to move an outfielder or 2 if there was a viable pitcher out there for the bullpen, maybe even a start. I don't even see them going after a starter. I do see them getting rid of Reyes, so I think he's going to be gone. And but no, I'm spitting on that. They're not making any big moves. No way.
Okay. LarkDawg.
I'll sip on it. So I don't. To Roger's point, yeah, man, they weren't supposed to be this good. They were a young team. This is a rebuild. Everybody knows that. This is just fun to watch a young team do this well, especially in this division, because this division could be either be one of the worst in baseball or it could be one of the best in baseball. There's really no in between. So yeah, I don't think that they're going to be, they're not going to be going for a Shohei Ohtani. They're not going to be going for, any huge names like that. Yeah, right, Juan Soto. But they might. I'm worried that they might deal Bieber to get off of this contract, especially after the things that came out today. But yeah, I think they'll play around, but I don't think anything too crazy as buyers.
All right, Ed.
I'll make it short and sweet, like Slark. I'm sipping. The Guardians are bringing sexy back this year to Progressive Field in Cleveland. Go out and watch your team. We'll see what happens the second half. Even if they fall short like the Cavs did, they're a fun team, and moving forward the next 2 to 3 years, it's going to be fun. So enjoy the ride.
Yep, good call, Ed.
Okay, I don't think they're going to make the huge blockbuster moves like Soto or anything like that. However, you guys are all dead wrong. They are going to be so active in the next 6 days. They're going to be buying. They're going to be selling. They're going to be moving pieces because they have too many players on their roster. They've got to get more flexible. Too many guys they're not going to be able to protect. So they're going to make a lot of moves coming up. It's going to be exciting. You're never going to hear a story that like blows your mind, but you're going to have like 5 trades or something. It's my prediction. Maybe it'll be 4. So I'm chugging.
Whoa. So you're saying
I thought you were looking for the big giant signing.
No, he says 4 to 5 moves constitutes a big. I think you're right, Andy. Maybe 4 to 5 good solid moves. That is a big.
I thought it was one big like.
The question was worded that the Cleveland Guardians will make
the statement
big moves. Plural.
Statement was
you give me when I have to read. Yeah. Good job. All right, let's move on to question number 2. Slark, we're going to start with you. In 2022 season, the Cleveland Browns have a better roster than the Baltimore Ravens.
I'm chugging on it.
Hey, Roger. All right, we'll go to Roger first.
Yeah, he's actually chugging. Don't stop him. Don't stop him. Go ahead, Roger.
It's kind of funny when you say we'll go to Roger first because
hey,
that's my name.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Whenever there's a lull like that, I think that I miss something and I jump in. I'm chugging. Fuck the Ravens. Go ahead, Slark.
You said the Browns will have a better roster than the Ravens. Yeah,
I'm
going down the rest of this.
Oh, he's chugging.
Real chug there.
Wow. When I retire, you can take over my spot. That was impressive.
So they were full of last year, historically, teams that are injured one year still have the injury bug that tails over into the next season with the way that their backfield was injured and with how they just gave up Andrews, the way that Andrews, right? I'm thinking right. No. Hollywood Brown. I'm sorry. Why was it?
The wide receiver.
Hollywood, give up Hollywood Brown,
Arizona. Arizona.
Yeah, so giving away those big pieces like that in our division, AFC North, like, dude, you can't do that. Yeah, I definitely think, especially if Watson only gets 4 or less, I think we have a better roster, big time.
All right, Ed.
I'm chugging.
Wow, look at Ed.
Ed is actually chugging. It's going to take 27 minutes, and I apologize to the audience, but he is getting it down.
And here's why. So I got it. So Jacob and I had a little discussion on Barking Browns yesterday, and I said the Browns roster is the top 5 roster. He says 7 to 9, and I said to him, Jacob, I said, well, who's in the way of 6 and 7 between my top 5? I says Baltimore, one of them. Jacob says yes. I said LA, the LA Chargers, are they better? So the difference between the Browns being the top 5 and what Jacob was saying was either good teams like Baltimore and the Chargers. But to your point, Andy, that's why I chugged. I do think the Cleveland Browns definitely have a top 5 roster, and especially with Deshaun Watson, what a difference maker that guy's going to make.
All right. Well, for me, this is pretty simple. I think I love our roster. I love it so much. If we were talking about the roster over the next 5 years, Browns all day. We're talking about 2022. The Baltimore Ravens have way less question marks than the Cleveland Browns. We don't know when we're going to have our quarterback, how long we're going to have him. He hasn't played in a very long time. We don't know how he's going to adjust to the system. There's just too many variables. I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns end up winning the AFC North. But right now, if I had to money on, I'm saying put it on the Baltimore Ravens. So I am spitting.
See, the difference is, Andy, I think the Browns have a better roster. I still think the Ravens could win the division because I think sometimes you may have a better roster, but it comes how you play together. I think the Ravens are used to winning, just like the Steelers. When they have down years, they don't have bad 5-11 or whatever 5-12 because they're used to winning. There's something about that. I still think the Browns have a better roster regardless. Now, I do see the Ravens; they could win the division because they just play like that. I think that's two different.
I will say I think it's pretty damn close from what we know.
I agree. I agree.
I just feel like they're a little more established. I like their
coaching. They're coaching in their front office. They've been there. They've been winning.
Yeah.
We've had great rosters for the last 2 or 3 seasons, and we haven't won a division.
Yeah, and I would say
it's a tough division.
I think Kevin Stefanski is going to be an elite coach someday. But right now, I got to give it to Harbaugh. Like he's
absolutely
been doing it for years, and I have more confidence in him. Anyway, if I had to put money on putting it on the Baltimore Ravens, but I hope I'm dead wrong and we win the AFC North, or maybe they get as injured as they got last year because that was awesome. That was fun. Okay, question number. God damn it! Statement number 3.
Good for you.
Assuming Watson avoids a long season suspension, so we're saying like 6 games or less. Kevin Stefanski will firmly be on the hot seat if the Browns fail to make the playoffs. And LarkDawg, we're starting with you. Roger, shut the fuck up.
I'll sip to that. Stefanski's finally got a quarterback that could see over the line. I'm very, very happy that we have a quarterback that can expose all of Stefanski's playbook. I feel like Stefanski was on crutches last year, and he was only able to open up, 20 to 30% of his actual playbook compared to what he could have done with a better quarterback. And Happy Baker got us to the playoffs once, but I think 6 games or less, and the first 4 being the way that they are scheduled. Yeah, I think Stefanski could have a little bit of heat underneath him for a non-playoff season, but he's still got one of the toughest divisions. So I don't want to think if you miss the playoffs by a game, I don't think that you're on the hot seat. Now, if you go 6-11, we got different.
Okay, Ed.
I'm sipping. Here's why.
Oh Jesus!
Look, I think no matter what happens next year, he's gonna look. If they don't make the playoffs next year, he enters his 4th season where he has to make the playoffs. So he's on a hot seat per se. He's gonna get year 4 regardless, and whatever he does in year 4 will determine if he gets a year 5. So you can say year 4 is going to be that proverbial hot seat because he has to make the playoffs. I think he's guaranteed that 4th year.
Yeah. So the question was, the statement wasn't he won't get a 4th year. Is he'll be on the hot seat.
Then he's going to get a 4th year. So then the answer is I'm sipping because unless he goes 0-17, like I predicted, the Dawg Chug predicted 0-17. Yeah, then he could be on the hot seat. Yeah. So there's always a chance, obviously.
According to Ed, he's going to be on the hot seat.
Yeah. So for me, this is pretty simple. I have full faith in Kevin Stefanski. He's going to be an amazing coach. I think last year is going to be an anomaly in his career. If Watson's here for the majority of the season, the Browns are going to make the playoffs. However, if we fail to make the playoffs, Kevin Stefanski will absolutely be on the hot seat. He will be the new Baker Mayfield, where there's 50% of Browns Twitter over here and 50% Browns Twitter over here, and they're going to go to war. And
but he'll get that 4th year, Andy.
Who's hot seat?
He'll get the 4th year, of course. Yeah, they're not firing him.
Right. So
That's
that was
Is,
my
is he on the fans' hot seat or is he on the organization's
fans,
hot seat?
and I think he'll be on the front office's hot seat too.
But he'll
because
get the fourth
they
year,
have
so
been
does it?
very aggressive to give him everything that he needs, and if he can't turn this roster into a playoff team, he is going to have a problem. And obviously, context is important. Did we lose? By like some crazy tiebreaker is a lot different than the Browns just couldn't get it together this year. Again, I'm saying last year was an anomaly. Kevin Stefanski is going to get the most out of his talent every year. He's going to be great. I'm not worried about it. So, but I'm gonna Chug.
Can I address Jessica? She says I changed my answer every time tonight, and that according to myself, that I change it when I hear the next person's answer. No, I think we're all pretty much in agreement here. Maybe the severity of it, and there's different points made. But Jessica, anytime that you're talking about me, I love it. So keep it up. And if you don't like how I'm acting tonight, hey, check out next week's Dawg Chug.
All right, we'll move on to question.
Andy, come on.
Mark,
Hey,
take over.
would you
Take
like-
over. You're the new host of the Dawg Chug.
I know. Roger, you take over. Roger takes over.
Maybe I
Roger,
need,
would you like my opinion on this?
I thought yes, I would like your opinion on this.
No. I don't think he'll be on the hot seat with the fans. He'll be on the hot seat with the media. You know why? Because he already is. And they're on this kick about the play calling. They're on this. If you watch the film, there are people wide open all over the damn place. Kevin Stefanski wasn't a problem. Kevin Stefanski being on the hot seat, he's not going to. Paul DePodesta is the guy that. You know what I heard Mary Kay say on the radio the other day? Kevin Stefanski was handpicked by Andrew Berry and Paul DePodesta. That's not true. Kevin Stefanski was hired before Andrew Berry was hired. He was hired by Paul DePodesta. Paul DePodesta, if you look at his history with the Oakland A's and with the organization as a GM, he stands behind his guys. I think Paul DePodesta would be gone just as quick as Kevin Stefanski is gone. He didn't create this mess. He's been handed it with Baker, with Watson, with the organization. There's no way that he'd ever get fired, but he's already on the hot seat with the media. So, the guy can't win. What?
Okay. I just got to point this out because
I was waiting for Andy. I knew Andy wanted to talk.
listen, at the end of the day, sorry. Andrew Berry left a very, very good situation with Philadelphia to come back to the team that, spurned him to a degree, that chose the fucking Dorsey nitwits instead of choosing him. He came back here because he wanted to work with Kevin Stefanski. This didn't happen in a vacuum. It wasn't like Kevin was hired and then Andrew Berry said, "Oh, will you hire me to the Browns?" Andrew Berry clearly was part of the plan when they hired Kevin Stefanski. Like everything happened in sync. There were communications happening behind the scenes. They all wanted to work together. They made it happen. To sort of say that Kevin Stefanski didn't hire Andrew Berry didn't hire Kevin Stefanski. That's nonsense. They both wanted to work together. They found a way to make it happen. They love each other. How long that love will go on, we'll find out.
Hey now.
Exactly. That's my point. Is that Stefanski is ingrained with them. You know what I mean? Jimmy Haslam didn't hire him like he did John Dorsey. It wasn't Jimmy Haslam when he hired everybody, Hugh Jackson, and because he overruled Paul DePodesta back then when he hired Hugh Jackson. These three guys, they'll all be gone together before Kevin Stefanski's gone on his own. Is my point. He's trenched in, man. He's not going anywhere.
Thank you for clarifying. We got it now. They're all in love. They're going to make it happen this year. It's going to be a fun Brown season. Let's move on to statements, not questions. Statement number 4.
Whoa! Break-ed news. He actually got that right.
And let's see. Should I start with? No. You know what? We're going to start with Roger. Roger, when I finish the statement, it's your turn to talk. You got it?
I got it.
Okay.
I just read
Statement
it.
number 4. Ed is a better dancer than Christian from Down with the Browns.
Ooh, you know, Ed has some moves. I'm gonna sip on it.
Imagine that he's sipping.
In their own. I'll tell you what, Christian kind of dances like a stripper. I will say that he was kind of dancing like a stripper. Where Ed's more little funk. You know, I think they both have their different.
Question: why do you know how male strippers dance? By the way,
you know, Andy, as you see,
he used to be one. Andy, Roger used to be one.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah,
Sorry, Roger. Continue.
they're just two different styles. You know, it's like comparing Michael Jackson to Fred Astaire. They're both great. They're both huge.
Yeah.
So it's hard to decipher. I'm sipping on it. I'm staying the fuck out of it, and I don't want any part of it.
All right, Clark. I assume you saw both the clips of dancing and Christian dancing, because I mean it was all over Twitter.
I mean, Ed.
Whoa!
Ed, whoa!
Shot fired at Christian.
Wow,
Roger.
Yeah.
I'm
I love me
offside.
some Ed.
He's offside. Is he offside?
I love me some Ed.
Thank you.
Gotta love some Ed.
Ross just popped in. What do you got for us, Ross?
Well, I gotta do a big.
Oh.
Oh! Oh, my dog.
As always, Ed started it. That was one dance out of Christian. How many dances do we get out of Ed every single week?
Every day. I
Thousands.
three
Huge
of them.
dances. The best dances. Believe me.
He's got
The best dances.
I'm clipping this, Ross. I'm clipping this up right here. This is a clip. This is a promo.
But you know what? I'll give Christian props. He did take his shirt off. We need Ed in a tie dancing. Make it happen. Chippendales Ed. We want Chippendales Ed, like Roger said.
Yeah.
This weekend in Cleveland at training camp, you're gonna get some Chippendales Ed.
All right. I'm gonna see to it. I'm filming it actually.
All right. Well, that was amazing. Thank you, Ross, for that was fantastic. Ed, how will you answer this? Is Christian a better dancer than you or not? Obviously, we know
Christian is my compatriot on Down with the Browns. Christian is a great man. Christian is a great human, which is the same thing as a man. I don't know why I kept saying that. But here's the thing. Is he better than me? No. The answer is no. Will he ever be better than me? No. The answer is no. And, I love me some me. I love me some Christian. But to ask me that question, Andy, look, especially with the sexy shirt that you're wearing right now, it doesn't seem proper.
Oh, God. He's got the bottle out.
Oh, no. Well, we know it's close to the ending. That's going to take forever.
So, all right.
I'm not doing jazzy fingers.
He's got to ease the pain of complimenting Ed.
Obviously, anyone that watched both those clips knows that Christian is a much better dancer than Ed, because every time I watch Ed, I'm skeeving. I'm uncomfortable. It's very awkward. It's awful. However, Ed, you're part of the Dawg Chug. Christian is not. So I'm going with my boy. You're the better dancer.
Yes.
Oh.
And by the way, thank you for making me have Mandarin vodka by when I do this, because it's great to be able to do a shot. We love you, Yvette. We can't wait for you to come back on. Yes. You're the best. Okay.
Cheers.
Sorry. Ed, what do you got for us?
I don't got much. You took. I will say one thing. You took a shot right there, and I got accused many times of that shots don't equal chugs. But I will, in that case, for what you just did, and I saw that burn. That definitely constitutes a chug in my book, and I appreciate the answer. And Roger, your answer of sipping. Once again, you're not representing the Offside Sports Network. You're not representing Ed in Columbus. Christian, we love him, but he's not on the show. And the fact that you fired me. You fired me, Roger, and now you go against my dance. I am the Lord of Dance.
I love your dancing, Ed. I love it.
You're changing your tune. You're changing your tune right now.
Roger loves male strippers. That's all we learned.
That's all we learned tonight.
Well, the more you know. Let them know. Go Cavs.
By the way, I just came up with a very good bit idea for a future Dawg Chug.
I'm not dancing.
Hopefully Christian will be down, but it'll be epic if we can pull it off. So we'll work on that. LarkDawg, what else you got for us? I mean, like, I know you have some good thoughts about the Browns right now because we're about to jump off, and I know you got something. Or maybe not.
Like frozen.
He's frozen. There he is.
No, are you asking me? I'm sorry. Sorry, I just
There you
That
go.
was a
no, I'm still
perfect
here. It's just
ending.
my
We can hear
for
you.
some reason my stream isn't working that well. Camera.
Hey, damn side internet.
Well, your audio's working. You got anything to
I'm-
say?
I'm in the spaces now. There he is.
All right, he's back. What do you got for us?
Okay. What was the question?
Question was, we're about to sign off. We know you have something epic to say about the Browns. What do you got? Maybe,
I just think,
maybe even it's Browns Twitter.
Yeah, I just over the last 6 months, I've been exposed to spaces, been exposed to Dawg Chug, Down with the Browns, Offsides, Bad, all the guys, Revlog, everybody on Browns Twitter. I feel like sometimes it could be a hostile environment, but we are Browns fans and we're used to that. And we all have to remember that we're all in it for the same thing. We want our team to succeed. And much like I say to my guys at Offsides, you have to love this family. You're not dealt the family that you have, but you got to love them and you got to support them. And that's how you got to live your life, man. You just got to love this family. And I think it's going to be a fun season. I think it's going to be nice to see a quarterback that has these types of skills with Stefanski-style play calling and the rest of the team that we have that Andrew Berry's put together. I think it's going to be a pretty fun few years.
Wow. Well, he said it the best we can say it. It's going to be a fun couple of years. LarkDawg, thank you so much for joining us. It was an amazing hour and 15 minutes. Ed, Ross, Roger, we had a blast. Cannot wait to see everyone. Will you, LarkDawg, be out for Saturday night, by the way? Anyway, any chance you'll be out on the side?
I don't know, but we don't know. So.
Come on out, hang out with us. We're going to have a blast. We're going to be outside in patios because that's the only way I can be amongst the world. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to get video. We're going to play it on next week's show. So everything you do is going to be captured, and we're going to make fun of you. So it's going to be hilarious and awful. I might be a little bit drunk tonight. Sorry about that, but it was a great episode of the Dog. Thank you, everyone. Roger, sign us out. Say something profound. Let's go.
Thank you, Andy. I think that we've been through a lot as Cleveland Browns fans over the